So my first question would be during your childhood and your college days, were you always interested in films?
Yeah, it was coming from like school days only. So like when I was in ninth, I have watched Ghazni film, and I had some fascination about the movie since I was in second class because my parents used to go to movies a lot, so they used to take me with me. So there were a lot of movies that I have seen in my school days. So when I watched Ghazni first, so I thought I can write something similar to it. So I made a parody of it. So it was a parody written of that film, and since then I thought of writing something. And it took me 3 years to write a story after that. And in 12th, I have shot my first film on my mobile phone. So that's how it started.
So you were always interested in film, but uh, which course have you done in graduation?
Yeah, I'm a computer science engineer.
So why did you do computer science and not related to filmmaking?
Right. So, like when I was in 12th, the grades were good, and it was a safer option to go with that because I was not sure about my filmmaking, whether I'll be, and I was not knowing the procedure as such. So it was kind of a basic thing that I used to do, and later when I grew and I kept on doing it, I got to know that I was so basic at that, and then after a while, I have decided that I'll pursue this.
So how your filmmaking journey started?
Yeah. So in engineering, as I used to say, I used to make films. Like every semester, I used to make one film. That was my target. And for each semester, I had done 8 films. That was all our short films, and it was in quite closer region of my college, and I have shot it in my college or neighborhood areas. And those 8 films was actually they are not the films which I can show it to someone, but that actually helped me to understand the films and how to do that, the procedure of making a film. So from my first film to the 8th film, there was a altogether a different altitude that I have got in my films. And after that, when I pass out from engineering, I then made a feature film. That was my first feature, and it was kind of an independent feature film, and with the help of my friends and there are few people which were from FTI who are my friends as well, so they have shot it, and I had made my first feature, and that's how it started.
So there might be few films that you want to recommend
Yeah, there are a lot actually.
and list them all.
Okay. So, for a filmmaking perspective, the list would be different. But the film which I have personally like, in spite of the filmmaking techniques and truncalities, I personally like films of Sir Bong Joon-ho. He's a Korean film
Bon
director.
Joon-ho, Parasite.
Yeah, Parasite, and his like Memories of Murder is my one of the favorite film that I feel every filmmaker should watch. It just not with the just not for the story of the film, but for the technicalities also and how he created that world, the staging part, the camera, the lights, and the screenplay is written for that film. I believe that film makes you connect so much. In 2003, it was released, and in 2003, it looked so real because the era was from 1986 to 1994, right? So taking those era and the film looks so real, even we see it now in 2024 or 2025, we can relate to those years, and it's quite a relatable and quite a realistic movie. So I personally like that film in a technical perspective, and being a favorite film of mine, it is obviously a Shawshank Redemption because I'm a big fan of that film, and I've like watched it hundreds of times till date. It's still my favorite film, and till now I'm hoping that something else will come and overshadow that, but it's getting difficult. So the other films, like I'm used to get to cinema a lot after like in last 4 5 years, and I came across many Iranian films, and I'm a big fan of Iranian filmmaking as well. So I watched Abbas Kiarostami's films, also Asghar Farhadi's films. So Abbas Kiarostami's Where Is My Friend's Home is a film that I would recommend to any of the filmmaker who are starting and in the filmmaking, because the film is quite simplistic. There are only three characters, and yet it is so emotional and realistic. Though the protagonists are like they are young childs only, but the film or the acting they have done is so real, and we never felt that it's a acting, because the realism in Iranian films, it's tremendous, that you never get to know whether it's a film or it is a documentary, because we have that structure in Iranian film. So I would recommend Close Up and Where Is My Friend's House from Abbas Kiarostami. Also, there is one film called The Father from Majid Majidi. He is also an Iranian filmmaker that I'll also recommend to watch, and that's one of my favorite. And The Separation is a film from Asghar Farhadi. That and About Ali is also from Asghar Farhadi. So these are my favorite
One more
Iranian films.
question. Like,
Hmm.
I want to talk about the separation. You have mentioned Memories of Murder and it's a thriller, but Separation
Right,
is also a thriller, and it
right, right.
and it doesn't have any murder or anything. It's just a
Correct.
marriage.
It's a subtle way of doing a thriller film. Yes. So that's the magic of Mr. Asghar Farhadi. He is a great filmmaker, because even in our daily life we have something thrilling happening and we never notices it. And bringing that onto the table and making a film out of it is a uh, different task altogether. And I believe that has been done by Asghar Farhadi only. There may be different names, but I have never came across those. But so I respect him a lot about his filmmaking.
Any filmmakers that you want to recommend that you really inspire?
Yeah. Bong Joon-ho, again, I would take his name, that because he has a big impact on me. I'm also fond of his film Mother. There was his film Mother, so I'm also a big fan of Bong Joon-ho's work. Also, Abbas Kiarostami's work in the initial '90s era. The films are really beautiful. But these are the familiar names that everybody knows nowadays. And but I would like to recommend the work from the Malayalam cinema as well. Yes. So there currently, like since last 5 6 years, the Malayalam films are getting quite great. So Anjali Menon is a screenwriter. So she writes a very good films. There is a film called Kumbalangi Nights that I'm very fond of. And Malayalam cinema is also taking a deep leap in Indian field now. So I would definitely feel that Malayalam cinema should be watched more.
Any Hindi Bollywood filmmaker?
So Bollywood films, like we are grown and born with Bollywood films, and those are the films that have made up some bigger pictures on our mind. But again, if I want to suggest any Bollywood film to someone, so I guess everyone knows this film, but it's a good film called Tumbad that I'm very fond of. Rahi Anil Barve is a film director of Tumbad. So he took almost 9 10 years to make this film, but he was so beloved about this film that there were other opportunities as well, but he was so sure about the film, and we can see while watching that film that though it's quite a fictional world, the film look immensely real and very convicted. So
Any
Tumbad is a film that.
any other
Mhm.
films?
Okay. So you want to say that I want to recommend those films,
Yes, recommend.
or my okay, you want a recommendation about those films. So Aakho Dekhi is a film by Rajat Kapoor. So that also I'm very fond of. But lately, if we go to the independent cinema that currently followed in Hindi, so there are many film like Kayo Kayo Color is one film, is a Gujarati film, And then there was another Gujarati film. I'm not recalling the name. I'll just search the film name. So it was Last Film Show
Oh,
is a
yes,
film.
yes. It
Yeah.
was
So
nominated
that
for
was a
Oscar for.
Oscar from it was India's official entry. So I believe that film didn't get a leap, but I believe everyone should watch that film. It's quite an emotional, realistic drama that has been made. And apart from that, if we specifically want to talk about Hindi films, then my one of my favorite films is Pyasa, and Pyasa is an all-time high. And maybe the new print has been lost Pyasa lately, so everyone should have a look at it. It's all-time classic.
Any shows, web shows that you are currently watching?
Uh, Akash, so honestly, I don't watch web series or web shows. There is a reason to it. The couple of reasons. I definitely not get that amount of time to have the binge watch, and the second reason is I believe film watching film is a different perspective. You watch it in a different perspective. For web shows, you need a different view altogether. So I just don't want to mix those both. So currently, I'm sticking with the movies only, and maybe in the later part of life, I'll go to the web shows.
Absolutely understandable. I also don't watch web shows that much. I only watch movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Because it's a different taste altogether.
Absolutely. There
So
are
if you are watching a film,
six, nine season you have to like binge.
correct. And the even the writing goes quite different for the web shows and for the films. So web shows are really like it also requires great creative writing and creative work. But currently I'm in the phase of film, so watching that.
Any books you want to recommend that you have read?
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Agatha Christie's writing. So she is a like neo-noir thriller mystery writer since in the early 90s. So her couple of books like and there was a book called Christmas Eve. So those two books I'm quite fascinated with about by Agatha Christie. And then there's another book by Khalid Hosni, Thousand Splendid Suns. So it's quite a famous book and everyone has gone through it, but most of the people knows about that book. But that book really meant a lot to me. Like I had read it couple of time and I felt very heavy at my heart by reading that book. So that book is like quite close to me.
So how the idea for Dhekun came?
Yeah. So in it, like before starting the film, it I had done a feature. Like it was my first feature, and after the first feature, I was reluctant to do a feature again because it needs a lot of lot of budgeting and there are more crew and more people need to be involved and I was not in a position to go for that straight away. So I wanted to do something in a shorter format, but again it shouldn't be something which everybody else is doing and it should be somewhere path breaking. That's what I wanted to write. So one day I was sleeping and I was unable to sleep for a longer period of time. And Dhekun means bed bug actually. So in English, it's a bed bug. And same time, I felt that there are bed bugs around my place. Actually, they weren't, but I was thinking that there are some. So that was the initial thought that you are feeling that there's something, and actually it's not present. It's something that is in your head which is bothering you. It's your mental co-science. So from there the story started, and there are different aspects to it. Like there was the other part of story that came later into the picture, but the initial start was this.
How was the experience while shooting the film?
Yeah. So I have shot it in Konkan seashores. So mostly film will be like around the beaches, and there was a big old house where I have shot this entire film. So there was a quite long recce gone into that, and there was a deeper pre-production we did. So every shot was structured and framed in prior. So it was quite a smooth kind of a shoot, being very honest. Like I was expecting it to be like somewhere around 6 days on a particular place, but it was wrapped within 4 days because the pre was very good, so it didn't took a lot time for us, and the film itself revolves around the static structuring of the film. So what I mean to say is the film completely is in a third person perspective. So there are only static shot if someone else is seeing those house, and in that perspective the film was shot. So it was in eye level of third person, and camera was static, so it was a bit easier, though the framing was difficult, but the shot was taken like quite smoothly. So it was a funny and easy process for me.
How long it took to complete the film?
Like from
From
beginning, like
beginning,
from
writing, shooting, editing.
okay. So it took me around 9 months in total, and post that there was a bit of music work. So around a year it took me to complete from writing to the completion of the film.
It got premiered at Mummy as well, so how was your reaction when you saw the film on
Yeah,
big screen? It might be emotional.
yeah, yeah. It's actually quite emotional because getting your film on such big screen and bigger platform. I was like I was never been part of such big festival before. So that was my first time experience, and it was very good. So I recall a thing when I told you that I used to make films in my college days as well. Right? So at one point I was doing my film in college days, and I have showcased it in college theater. Like it's a small theater of 100 people, and I have ran the movie in that theater, and I have called my friends and few of the professors to watch that film. It was amateurish film. I was in first year of my college. I have shown it to someone, and there is the angst going inside you. And after the film, I was standing and I was talking about my film, and then in a fluke, I said that there will be a day that my film will run in PVR near us in a theater. And I just said it that time. I was, I guess, 18. And when it got screened in Mami, so I recalled that scenario and it was quite emotional.
There might be few actors who you want to work with. Can you name them?
Yeah, there are many, but I would personally like to work with Mr. Rajkumar Rao. He is like, even I have written something keeping him in my mind, and I hope someday I'll work with him. And I wanted to work with Mr. R. Madhavan. I'm a big fan of him since my childhood days. So he's the one that I'm I'll be approaching for a script. So those are the two actors that I deeply want to work with.
Uh, when it got premiered at Mummy, there might be filmmakers who appreciated your
Mhm.
film. Can you
Right.
recall that?
Yeah, so there were many filmmakers that I like got to meet in Geomami, and I have discussed my film with them. So the majority of the people I have interacted are from a different country. So there was a Sophia Luterner. Yeah, there's a Sophie Luterner. So I had discussed with her, and I have shown her my film. So she was quite happy about the film, and she liked it a lot. And there were some guidance given by her. So she's a filmmaker from France. Also, there's one Nepali filmmaker. He's a very big filmmaker that I had. I'm actually can't recalling his name, but so there are few filmmakers from. Hmm, I'm not sure about the country, from Jakarta, Indonesia. So, so I have talked with them as well. I'll ping you those names because the names I'm quite confused with the names. But and if I'm coming back to the Hindi filmmakers that I have met Sir Vikramaditya Motwani sir and Mr. Anurag Kashyap sir. So that was a kind of a bigger guidance to me about the film and my filmmaking journey. So yeah.
Are you working in any project right now?
Yeah, actually, I'm completing my writing for a film and feature film. Yes, so it's a feature film, and there are two different scripts that I'm currently working on, and I hope something will be on floor in some time.
Any advice for new filmmakers you want to give?
Actually, I am also a new filmmaker,
But
and I'm also
but
very
you have
young.
made film which got premiered Mami. Anyone who
Yeah,
wants to pursue filmmaking.
yeah. So first thing, filmmaking is like being very honest. Filmmaking is not an easy journey that takes everything out of you. Because if you take art as a river, then filmmaking is a sea. So every river comes and gets merged into a sea. So if you do acting, sound, camera, so all these arts forms makes to make a film. So that's how big it is. So it's not an easy task. If you want to make a film, hold on to your breath because that will take some many thing out of you. And that's not an easy task at all. But be very honest with your work, and you should know that this is very unique, and this is what I have written from my heart, and this is authentic. So whenever you are writing or making a film, you should be very honest. You shouldn't cheat on yourself, or you shouldn't be lying on yourself. If you know that this is not working, or if you know that this is I have taken from somewhere else, you shouldn't do a film. Make a film which is very original, because that will help you in longer run. Maybe a couple of films will work and everything will be possible, but for a longer run, you should be honest with yourself.
Thank you, Kishit, for joining the podcast. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Akash. Thanks
Thank you
for
very
having me.
much. Bye.